Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandji Radha Kalachandji Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiryat Nastabrayasya Bhadreshu Netyam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. And then if we can go back to the other translation for, Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Shtapatam Yana Bhutale. We say what? Okay. I'll follow with whatever you guys are doing. Okay. Gotcha. Very well. Okay. And then, is it okay if I say a quick thing? No, okay. Okay, so thank you everyone for being here and letting me speak. Praying to Lotus feet of my spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, that I can glorify Srimad Bhagavatam in the service of Sri Sri Radhakala Chanji, to inspire all of us to learn the mood of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, imbibe that mood as our own, and inspire others to carry on this mood as well. Okay, so today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Text 7 to 29, with a focus on Text 24. So I guess now people read the purport, or they read the, okay. All right.
7. O learned Brahmana, the transcendental spirit soul is different from the material body. Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? Will you kindly explain this, for it is known to you?
If the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose abdomen the lotus stem sprouted, is possessed of a gigantic body according to his own caliber and measurement, then what is the specific difference between the body of the Lord and those of common living entities?
Brahma, who was not born of a material source, but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel abdomen of the Lord, as the creator of all those who are materially born. Of course, by the grace of the Lord, Brahma was able to see the form of the Lord.
By the sounds of past, present, and future. Also, please explain the duration of the measurements of life of the different living beings known as the demigods, the human beings in etc. in different planets of the universe.
O purest of the Brahmanas, please also explain the cause of the different durations of time, both short and long, as well as the beginning of time following the course of action.
Then again, kindly describe how the proportionate accumulation of the reactions resulting from the different modes of material nature act upon the desiring living being, promoting or degrading him among the different species of life, beginning from the demigods down to the most insignificant creatures.
O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, takes place.
Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of the different classifications of the castes and orders of social life.
Text 17. Please explain all the different ages in the duration of the creation and also the duration of such ages. Also tell me about the different activities of the different incarnations of the Lord in different ages.
Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliations of human society, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress.
Kindly explain all about the elementary principles of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers.
What are the opulences of the great mystics, and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and supplementary Puranas?
Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they are implemented. Tell me also of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the producers of the religion, economic development, and sense satisfactions?
Please also explain how merged in the body of the Lord living beings are created and how the infidels appear in the world. Also, please explain how the unconditioned living entities exist.
The independent personality of Godhead enjoys his pastimes by his internal potency, and at the time of annihilation gives them up to the external potency, and he remains a witness to it all.
O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfy my inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you, and all that I may not have inquired from you from the very beginning of my questionings. Since I am a soul surrendered unto you, please impart full knowledge in this connection.
We're going to 29.
O great sage, you are as good as Brahma, the original living being. Others follow custom only, as followed by the previous philosophical speculators.
O learned Brahmana, because of my drinking the nectar of the message of the infallible personality of Godhead, which is flowing down from the ocean of your speeches, I do not feel any sort of exhaustion due to my fasting.
Sutta Goswami said, thus Sukadev Goswami, being invited by Maharaj Parikshit to speak on topics of the Lord Sri Krishna with the devotees, was very much pleased.
He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature, and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas.
He also prepared himself to reply to all that King Parikshit had inquired from him. Maharaj Parikshit was the best in the dynasty of the Pandus, and thus he was able to ask the right questions from the right person.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that was a lot of verses. Yeah. All right, and that was a lot of questions. So I was thinking we could just go back to text 7. Let's see here. Yeah. And then because it's just so much going on, maybe we could just touch on a few points, verse by verse. And if anybody, like conversationally speaking, has like some comments to say or questions, then just kind of like go for it. So, a learned Brahmin, the transcendental spirit soul is different from the material body. Does he acquire the body accidentally or by some cause? Will you kindly explain this? For it is known to you. Does anybody want to read the first paragraph of the purport of this?
Maharaj Parikshit, being a typical devotee, is not only satisfied by confirming the importance of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the representative of Brahmaji by disciplic succession, but he is still more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, all questions that may arise in the mind of a serious student must be cleared by the statements of the authority. A person on the path of devotional service may inquire from his spiritual master all about the spiritual position of God and the living beings. From the Bhagavad Gita, as well as from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is known that qualitatively the Lord and the living being are one. The living being in the conditioned state of material existence is subjected to many transmigrations by continuous changing of the material body. But what are the causes of the material embodiment of the part and parcel of the Lord? Maharaj Parikshit inquires about this very important matter for the benefit of all classes of candidates on the path of self-realization and devotional service to the Lord.
Yeah, so we can see, like, what stuck out to me in this purport was that Maharaj Parikshit, being a typical devotee, like someone who's very inquisitive, he wasn't satisfied by confirming the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. He also, he still more wanted to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I feel like he's really going to do this because there's so many questions here. It says that all the questions that arise in the mind of a serious student must be cleared by the statements of the authority. And this is really important because I guess as a premise, we should know that there's different ways of acquiring knowledge. Basically, there are two specific ways. One is called the ascending process, and the other one is called the descending process. And so basically, like for the ascending process, like philosophical speculation, I like to kind of say it's like a pizza delivery man who has a job to do, and there's kind of like a couple ways he could do it. Like if he wanted to deliver this pizza to like someone in particular, but he doesn't exactly know who he's supposed to deliver to or where he's supposed to deliver, then he could go knocking on every single door in Dallas. Is this your pizza? Is this your pizza? And he's probably never going to get that pizza delivered, right? But, and so that would be compared to like the speculation or the ascending process of knowledge. Like, you know, wondering what does the Lord look like? What does he do? What is his activities? But if he simply goes to his boss who says, oh, you have to take this pizza to UTD for delivery, you know, then he goes to the boss and says, okay, here's the address, and he can take that exactly to where he's supposed to go. It's like the perfect source of hearing the knowledge, and he's able to do his service in that way. So hearing from the authority is definitely the faster, quicker way to receive the knowledge. And so it's just so much faster. And then another thing that kind of stuck out to me is that it is known that qualitatively the Lord and the living beings are one. The living being is in a conditioned state of material existence, is subjected to many transmigrations by continuous changing of the material body. But what are the causes of the material embodiment of the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord? Maharaj Parikshit inquires about this very important matter for the benefit of all classes of candidates on the path of self-realization and devotional service to the Lord. So we all are familiar with the philosophy of the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So basically we are qualitatively one with the Lord, but we're not quantitatively one with the Lord. So it's compared to like a drop of water from the ocean. Like you could take a drop of water out of the ocean, you could say like, okay, this is the ocean, but not really, right? Because it's not like the full ocean, you know? So we do have the same quality as the Lord, but we're different in the fact of the quantity. And this is a really great question that he's asking. So, okay, so let's go on to text 8. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose abdomen the lotus stem sprouted, is possessed of a gigantic body according to his own caliber and measurement, then what is the specific difference between the body of the Lord and those of common living entities? All right. Anybody want to read this purport?
One should note how Maharaj Parikshit intelligently put questions before his spiritual master for scientific understanding of the transcendental body of the Lord. It has been described in many places before this, that the Lord assumed a gigantic body, that like that of Karanadoka Sai Vishnu, from whose hair pores innumerable universes have generated. The body of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is described as sprouting the lotus stem within which all the planets of the universe remain. And at the top of the stem is the lotus flower on which Lord Brahma is born. In the creation of the material world, the Supreme Lord undoubtedly assumes a gigantic body, and living entities also get bodies, big or small, according to necessity. For example, an elephant gets a gigantic body according to its needs, and so also an ant gets its body according to its needs. Similarly, if the personality of Godhead assumes a gigantic body to accommodate the universes or the planets of a particular universe, there is no difference in the principle of assuming or accepting a particular body in terms of necessity. A living being in the Lord cannot be distinguished simply by the difference in the magnitude of the body. So the answer depends on the specific significance of the body of the Lord, as distinguished from the body of the common living being.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any comments or realization on this purport? Okay, let's go on to text 9. Yeah. Brahma, who is not born of a material source, but of the lotus flower coming out of the navel abdomen of the Lord, is the creator of all those who are materially born. Of course, by the grace of the Lord, Brahma was able to see the form of the Lord. Do you want to read that part? Yeah.
The first living creature, Brahma, is called Aja, because he did not take his birth from the womb of a mother materially born. He was directly born from the bodily expansion of the lotus flower of the Lord. Thus it is not readily understandable whether the body of the Lord and that of Brahma are of the same quality or different. This must also be clearly understood. One thing is, however, certain. Brahma was completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, because after his birth, he could create living beings by the Lord's grace only, and he could see the form of the Lord. Whether the form seen by Brahma is of the same quality as that of Brahma, whether the form seen by Brahma is of the same quality as that of Brahma is a bewildering question, and Maharaj Parikshit wanted to get clear answers from Srila Shukadeva Goswami.
Brahma was completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, because after his birth, he could create living beings by the Lord's grace only. He was the first being, and he came from the navel, and he was on the lotus flower, and it was completely dark all around him. And he didn't know what to do. He was completely bewildered. And he was in that bewildered state for like a while. I don't remember exactly how long. But he's just searching around in the darkness, not knowing what to do. And then all of a sudden, he hears the word, tapa, tapa. So only by the austerity of remembering the Lord was he able to actually create. Okay, let's go on to, you have tapa. Tapa means, I believe it means sacrifice. Yeah, sacrifice, yeah. Is that correct? Or you have a question? Yeah. Yes.
Here it says, whether the form seen by Brahma is of the same quality as that of Brahma is a bewildering question. So, do they mean that the form that Brahma saw, like when he was the only person in existence, like the form of Krishna he saw, like they don't know if it's like Brahma like saw himself, or what exactly does that line mean?
Oh, okay. So, whether the form seen by Brahma is of the same quality as that of Brahma is a bewildering question, and Maharaj Parikshit wanted to get clear answers from Shukadev Goswami. Same quality as Brahma. Yeah. Well, I know that that Brahma was actually he was not seeing himself. So basically, he's not the Lord, right? So he actually was seeing Krishna, and he had the eyes to see Krishna. Did it say that next? Yeah, he sees Krishna. Yeah, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But I think that here is undoubtedly. So we can just get that answered in the text in purport, I believe. So, all right. So let's go ahead and just read that really quick. Undoubtedly, the form of the Lord, who was seen by Brahma, must be transcendental. Otherwise, how could he simply look upon the creative energy without being touched? It is understood also that the same Purusha lies in the heart of every living entity. This also requires proper explanation. So, more questions. Does that answer the question?
Does that mean that he saw super soul, like he saw that form?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Actually, like as we all know, there's three different levels of God realization, right? There's the Brahma Jyoti, Super Soul, and then Bhagavan. Bhagavan means one who possesses all opulences in full, right? So we have he's the richest, he's the famous, he's the most renounced, he's the most intelligent, he's the strongest, and he's the most beautiful, right? So, but the beauty of like worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his Bhagavan form as a Supreme Person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is that he actually has these features. Okay, so like they're expressed in different levels, right? Like, okay, on the Brahma Jyoti, it's the light emanating from the Lord, right? They say it's like a train coming down the tracks. You see the light and you say, oh, that is the Lord. But then the second person sees the train coming down the tracks and they say, oh, okay, now this subway has a door and it has compartments and everything. But then the third person sees, oh, there's actually a conductor that's driving this, right? And so in every level, there's different features that are expressed. So for the Brahma Jyoti, there's zero features expressed, right? It's completely like just the light emanating from the Lord. And when one has Paramama realization, then they realize the soul within, right? But they can hear like the voice inside the heart, but they cannot communicate back to the Paramatma, right? And then, so it's only the feature of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that there can be a relationship, right? So he's probably not seeing the Super Soul, he's probably seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That answers my question, I think.
Oh, okay, great, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to text 11, which has no purport, so we'll just read it real quick. O learned Brahman, it was formerly explained that all the planets of the universe with their respective governors are situated in the different parts of the gigantic body of the Virat Purusha. I have also heard that the different planetary systems are supposed to be in this gigantic body of the Virat Purusha. But what is their actual position? Will you please explain that? Yeah. So actually, I heard that that the Virat Rupa form, the Virat Purusha, it's actually just a way to, I guess, entice people to see the material energy and to think of the Lord. And so, but Srila Prabhupada says it's more or less imaginary. And so it's a way to relate but actually the true form of the Lord, that is the real form. Okay, so let's go on to text 12. Also, please explain the duration of time between creation and annihilation, and that of the subsidiary creations, as well as the nature of time indicated by the sound of past, present, and future. Also, please explain the duration and measurement of life of the different living beings known as the demigods, the human beings, etc., and different planets of the universe. Would you like to read the super short purport?
Past, present, and future are different features of time to indicate the duration of the life for the universe and all its paraphernalia, including the different living beings in different planets.
Thank you very much. All right. So moving on to 13. O purest of the Brahmins, please explain the cause of the different durations of time, both short and long, as well as the beginning of time following the course of action. Okay. No purport. So we'll move on to 14. Would you like to read 14? The translation?
Then again, kindly describe how the proportionate accumulation of the reaction resulting from the different modes of material nature active on.
Then again, kindly describe how the proportionate accumulation of the different reactions resulting from the different modes of material nature act upon the desiring living being, promoting or degrading him among the different species of life, beginning from the demigods down to the most insignificant creatures.
Yeah. Drista Jamia, would you like to read the first paragraph of the purport?
The actions and reactions of all works in the material modes of nature, either in the minute form or in the gigantic form, are accumulated, and thus the result of such accumulated actions and reactions of karma, or work, become manifested in the same proportion. How such actions and reactions take place, what the different procedures are, and what proportion they act are all subject matters of Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries from the great Brahmana Shukadev Goswami.
Yeah. Yeah, let's continue on to 15. Yeah.
O best of the Brahmanas, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, and the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as different kinds of inhabitants, takes place. The inhabitants of different varieties of land, etc., are differently situated, and all of them are equal in all respects. The inhabitants of the land are different from the inhabitants of the water or the sky, and similarly the inhabitants of the different planets and stars in the sky are also different from one another. By the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant, but the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. Even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those of the cities and villages. They are so made according to the different qualities of the modes of nature. Such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind. There's a great plan behind the arrangement. Maharaj Parikshit requests great sage Sukadeva Goswami to explain all these authoritatively in accordance with
Proper understanding.
with what?
With proper understanding.
Proper understanding.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of the different classifications of the castes and orders of social life.
And somebody want to read the first paragraph of the purport of that? Yeah.
Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Lord Krishna, and as such he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. He wants to know the inner and outer space of the universal form. It is quite fitting for the real searcher of knowledge to know all about this. Those who are of the opinion that the devotees of the Lord are satisfied with mere sentiments can find in the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit good lessons as to how inquisitive a pure devotee is to know things in their true perfection. The modern scientist is unable to know about the inner space of the universal horizon, and what to speak of the space which covers the universe.
Wow. Yeah. It's so vast. All right, moving on. Next verse 17, please. Yeah. You want to pass it over? Yeah.
Next paragraph, right?
Text 17?
17?
Oh, yeah.
17 or 16?
17, translation.
Please explain all the different ages and the duration of the creation, and also the duration of such ages. Also tell me about the different activities of the different incarnations of the Lord in different ages.
And you want to go for the first paragraph of the purport? Yeah.
Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all the incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Although non-different from him, are emanations from the Supreme. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the great and learned sage Shukadeva Goswami about the different activities of such incarnations, so that the incarnation of the Lord might be confirmed by his activities in the authoritative scriptures. Maharaj Parikshit was not to be carried away by the sentiments of the common man to accept an incarnation of the Lord very cheaply. Instead, he wished to accept the incarnation of the Lord by symptoms mentioned in the Vedic literatures and confirmed by an acharya like Shukadeva Goswami. The Lord descends by his internal energy without any obligation to the laws of material nature, and thus his activities are also uncommon. The specific activities of the Lord are mentioned, and one should know that the activities of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical, due to being on the absolute plane. Thus, to hear the activities of the Lord means to associate with the Lord directly, and the association with the Lord directly means purification from material contamination. We have already discussed this point in the previous volume.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. So there's actually a lot of verses here. Maybe we could just go to 2:8:24. Okay, so let's read this. Sarvam etak cha bhagavan prachato me narupa vasaha prachato me narupa vasaha Tatvato yasi udahartam Tatvato rasi udahartam. 2:8 Prapananya Mahamune. Would anyone like to chant? No. Sarvamita cha Bhagavan Prachato me nupurvasaha Prachato Prapanaya Mahamune Sarvamita cha Bhagavan Prachato me nupurvasaha Prapanaya Mahamune Sarvamita cha Bhagavan Prachato menu parvasa Tatvato vyasi udahatum Prapanaya Mahamune Sarvam. Oh, I guess, are we doing this together? Yeah, okay. Sarvam, all these. Itat, inquiries. Cha, also that I have not been able to ask. Bhagavan, O great sage. Prachataha, of the inquisitive. Me, myself. Aparivasa, from the beginning. Tatvata, just in accordance with the truth. Aharasi, may kindly be explained. Udahartam, as you will know. Prapaniya, one who is serene. Mahamune, O great sage. Translation. O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfy my inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you and all that I may not have inquired from you from the very beginning of my questionings. Since I am a soul surrendered unto you, please impart full knowledge in this connection. Anyone want to read the purport?
The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. If one is not very inquisitive about self-realization, one need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. Not only Maharaj Parikshit inquisitive concerning all he has inquired about, but he is also anxious to know about what he has not been able to inquire. Factually, it is not possible for a man to inquire about everything from the spiritual master, but the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit.
Thank you very much. Yeah. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. So, of course, we all know, as it's said many times, that inquisitiveness on the part of the disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Progressive. So, Maharaj Parikshit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. So, basically, he's good at asking a lot of questions, and he's asking a lot of questions that keep his spiritual master talking. And as we were talking about for the way of like acquiring knowledge, he's hearing it from the right source, and he's hearing it submissively. And submissively is the best way of hearing it. And also, there's another type of question. When somebody is participating in what's called active listening, then they're asking questions based on the clarification of what they're hearing. Because like when my father and I used to have conversations, he would say, draw a triangle on a piece of paper. And I would draw a triangle, and then he would draw a triangle, and then my triangle would be like super small, and his triangle might be like super big. So actually, what he was trying to communicate was not necessarily conveyed by just like saying, draw a triangle. We had to look at it and see exactly what both triangles look like. This submissive hearing is the process of asking questions as well, to just to understand what everyone is taking in. Does anybody else have any comments or realizations about this verse? No? Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, this last sentence saying, it's not possible for you to ask about everything from the spiritual master.
Yeah.
But somehow the spiritual master is still going to enlighten in every way for the benefit. So it's like, even questions that you don't even ask, it's just the spiritual master is so expert that because Krishna's being like channeled, it'll be addressed. And I've heard a lot of experiences like this, and I kind of asked my spiritual master once. I was like, so what does it mean, to be a spiritual master? Does that mean that you know all your disciples' thoughts? And I remember I saw in the Pujari room, it was like, clean the Pujari room as if your spiritual master is watching, because he is. And I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, there's a few different answers, but basically one of the things he said was that whatever Paramatma wants the spiritual master to know, or whatever Paramatma wants the spiritual master to speak, that's kind of what will happen. So even if he doesn't know that, oh, you were staying up till 11 p.m. eating ice cream last night, he might be giving Bhagavatam class the next morning, and he might make that analogy, and he might not have directly known, but still Super Soul had inspired him to say that as a direction to you, to kind of, it's still somehow tailored to what you needed to hear. So yeah.
I heard that exact thing once. And I heard in a lecture, how many people have a problem with eating too many sweets? And I was like, me. But something else that I was thinking about on that same point was that, we say it every day in this beautiful prayer, Chakudan Dilo Jaya Jame Jame Prabhase Divyagan Rede Prakasito. Right? And so it's like he opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. And I heard from somebody that the way that we get our hearts filled with transcendental knowledge is simply by following the instructions of the lotus feet of our spiritual master. And so even the instructions that we follow, even the knowledge can come from within and fill our hearts as well. So that's very beautiful. Well, anything else? No? No? Okay. All right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.